2011, I began dating a married man. Not on purpose, because I'm just not the type of woman who could ever do something like that on purpose. There's a lot of backstories here for me to explain this story, but let me start by telling you two things. First, I know what it's like to be cheated on. I sat across the table once from a man who used his mouth. The same mouth that he had once used to kiss me, the same mouth that had once told me that he loved me, he used that mouth. And in the most casual of tones, told me that over the course of our 4.5 years together, he had cheated on me anywhere between 10 and 15 times. It had started a long time ago, and he just couldn't remember all the details, like how many other women had been involved. 2, I also know what it's like to be the other woman. I spent a snowstorm once in the near-empty apartment of a man who told me that he was falling for me. There was only one pair of pants hung up in his fake closet. There was nothing in his dresser drawers. There was no soap or shampoo in his shower. The fridge was filled with nothing but liquor and leftovers that we ate with plastic utensils and on paper plates. We had sex on his kitchen counters. The next morning, he shovels the snow off of my car. I get in the car, I drive away, and I never see him again. Several weeks later, he sends me a text message and he says he wants to see me. Excuse me? I say, after all this time, I figured that you had died. No, he says. Don't you see, I was just afraid. I was afraid that she would find out about you. So in June of 2011, when I began dating this married man, I should have known better. I should have been wearing a seatbelt or a helmet over my heart. I should have been watching for the warning signs of this impending collision, but I was too busy ignoring them. For starters, we met online. Not a warning sign as far as I'm concerned. We're talking about 2011, and I was pushing 30, okay? People my age, we date online, let's be honest. I'm not talking about farmersonly.com or something, but I figured that if there were young, intelligent, relatively attractive women like me on OkCupid, there would be young, intelligent, relatively attractive men on there looking to meet us. This man sent me an OkCupid instant message, and that was warning sign number 1. Because any man who sends you an OkCupid instant message is almost always guaranteed to be a total creep. I ignored that sign, and we continued to chat for several days, or a couple of days, and then we scheduled our first date, which was warning sign number 2, because any online relationship that rushes that quickly towards meeting in person is going to fail. So I ignored that sign, and we met at Copley for our first date. We walked together to the restaurant, and I was so smitten to be on a date with another African, and he spoke French. Oui, like it was just so exotic. So during dinner, he takes a phone call, and he speaks in French, and I don't speak French, so I have no idea what he's saying. And then after the phone call, he rushes to explain to me that it was a friend of his who lives in Cambridge, and he stays with his friend sometimes, and the friend was just calling to check in and see if he was coming over later. Okay. I didn't ask for an update, but thanks for it. That was warning sign number 3. During dinner, at the table, he takes a phone call and speaks in a language that I don't understand. I ignore that sign. After dinner, he's telling me about what kind of woman he looks for, and it can't be the jealous type, because he has a lot of female friends, and he can't stand when women are always getting jealous. So after dinner, a couple days, I Google him, because this is 2011. We met online, so if you give me your first and last name, or just your first name and enough identifiable characteristics, I'm going to Google you. So Google tells me that he has a child and a wife. So I send him a text message, and I'm like, hey, thanks for dinner. When were you planning on telling me about your wife and child? He calls me up, and he's like, oh, no, mi chérie, I don't know what you're talking about. Those are all lies. I don't know who put that on Google. Okay, yes. I do have a child, and yeah, I was married, but I'm divorced now. We're separated. I swear, I can explain. Warning sign number 4 was like one of those stop signs with the blinking red light on it just to make sure that you don't miss it. Stop, stop, stop. So I ignored that sign. Now fast forward several weeks of strange behavior, like we would never hang out at his apartment. And he would ask me to call him at his office, but then when I did, he would yell at me and say that he wasn't trying to drag his secretary into all of this. So then I would go for stretches of time without hearing from him, and when I did hear from him, it would be really late at night, and he was always whispering, like he was trying to keep our conversations from slipping into somebody else's ears. So one day I sign into Yahoo, and I have an email from his address, so I open it. And the email says, Dear Teresa, I'm his wife, and you're not the first. He's a liar, so please, just tell me how this happened.